Hey everybody. So for today's video, I really want to talk about a film director that really means a lot to me. I love his writing style. I love the way he makes movies. I love the subject matters that he tends to take on whenever he makes a movie. And that director is Christopher Nolan. He's done the Dark Knight trilogy. He's done Inception, Insomnia, Memento, The Prestige. The man's made several great films. He even was a producer and co-writer for Man of Steel recently in 2013. And he has his new next film coming out soon, Interstellar. I really love Christopher Nolan, guys. I mean, this guy knows how to make a movie. He very much puts style and substance in the same importance. He um, he knows how to make a movie. That's the best way I can put it. He really knows really what an audience wants. He knows, people like me who watch films all the time. He knows what we want. He knows when a film has high anticipation. He knows, to really push himself and to really make something that's really high quality. And he's never let me down because of it. So, this video is all about, in a way, it's kind of a video love letter to Christopher Nolan. I just really love him. I really appreciate all these films he's made for us, and I really can't wait to see what he has in store for the next few years because I know Interstellar is coming out in November of 2014, later this year. But I really wanted to take this video just to kind of talk about him because I mean, I know I've talked about Christopher Nolan a lot in the past, and I've obviously reviewed a lot of his films already as it is. But I just really wanted to take this video just to really kind of go over what makes him so great, what really makes him stand out compared to like other filmmakers who are around now. Though there's plenty of other great filmmakers who are still alive today. Like I love Spike Jonze, I love Steven Spielberg, I love Robert Zemeckis, I love David Fincher, I love Darren Aronofsky. Tons of great directors still working today, and but I really want this video to really be about Christopher Nolan and why I personally think he is really a spectacular director. So, like I was just saying a second ago, he puts style and substance at equal importance. He always knows that you can't just have a really pretty looking film and you can't just have a film that's all about good writing and good material. He knows that putting both those things at equal importance is very important. And I'm really glad that we have a filmmaker like him because, I mean, look at The Dark Knight. It's beautifully made, it's beautiful to look at, and the storyline and the substance are just absolutely ingenious. Further proof that he really knows what he's doing when it comes to making films. He always takes on interesting film subtopics. I mean, Inception, Prestige, Insomnia, the Dark Knight trilogy, all those have really interesting film topics that he takes on. Like with Prestige, he really took a different approach on, magic. What if there's a scientific approach? What if these magicians were really planning this out, when they were preparing their magic tricks before performing it on stage. And with Inception, he really got us a different perspective on the dream world. He gave us a great thriller, he gave us a great sci-fi. He really had really interesting material to go with it, and he had a very interesting style, and he had very impressive CGI to go along with it too. So another thing I really love about Christopher Nolan, he has a very philosophical material. I really like how every time you watch one of his movies, there's actually more meaning than you expect it to be. Specifically, when you leave the theater and you're thinking about the film you just watched, he really has a lot of meaning and philosophical understandings and underlinings behind his movies. And I really think that's a really neat trait to have as a filmmaker. It just goes to show that he's not just there to make a quick buck. He's not just there to show us really cool action scenes. He's not just there to show us really effective drama between these great um, assembly of actors and actresses that he managed to get for the movie. But he really has a lot to say about life in general and about the subject matter he's taking on. And he just really goes to show that he really has a ton of meaning behind these moving pictures that we're watching in his movies. So, um, his filmmaking style, I think, is really brilliant. I love kind of like that gray overtone, overcast day. A lot of uses of blues in his movies too. I just really like the man's filmmaking style. He just has a really interesting style. I think it works for a lot of different subject matters. Interstellar and The Dark Knight and everything else. You can tell it's by the same filmmaker, but it works for those two subject matters and all the other subject matters he takes on as well. And I think it's a very flexible filmmaking style he has. and ultimately any film that he wants to take on in the future, I think, is really going to benefit because of it. Um, I also really appreciate how he pushes himself as a filmmaker. He always pushes his abilities. He's always not only pushing the topics he takes on, he's always pushing himself as far as, how he's going to make the movie. Like with Inception, he had that, basically that scene with Joseph Gordon-Levitt going through that hotel where he's up on the roof and on the side and on the floor and everything. And, that was a huge step compared to Dark Knight, because in Dark Knight, he actually, reserved locations and things of that nature. With Inception, not only did he have to reserve locations, but he really had to figure out how to get this like dreamlike feeling in these scenes, and how to film it, and really how to really take advantage of the gravity in the scenery and things of that nature. And I think that's just a really admirable trait as a filmmaker. He's always pushing himself, and he's always trying to do something different and unique with every film he takes on. And once again, I really respect that. I really like how he assembles great casts in his films. You got to have a good acting cast and a good ensemble of actors and actresses in order to really make the material spark and fly, and to really bring these characters to life. And I think Christopher Nolan is very good about that. He doesn't just always pick the favorites. He'll have people that like working with him, kind of like what Quentin Tarantino likes to do. Michael Caine seems to like working with him. Christopher Nolan seems to always cast Michael Caine in his movies. He's worked with Christian Bale more than once, and but I always like how like for example, he chose Matthew McConaughey for Interstellar, because not only did he want to work with him, but he hasn't made a film with him yet, and so he's always trying to choose different people, and always trying to diverse himself and make sure that he works with as many great people in the film industry as often as he can. And once again, I think that's a very, very neat thing to have as a film director. So, and I also liked how Christopher Nolan almost kind of keeps his projects secretive. I like how, with a lot of filmmakers, like, oh, well, this film's going to be about this, and expect to see a scene about this, and expect to see this, and this, and this, and this, and this. With Christopher Nolan, he really likes to keep it secret. He doesn't like to give away too much before the film happens. I remember when The Dark Knight Rises came out, he gave you just enough. He gave you the little synopsis. He told you what the film was about, but he didn't give you the small details. I mean, obviously the internet these days, they can always try to spoil things and look at, on-set location and be like, oh, well, this person's going to be in it. I guess this is going to happen. I guess this person's going to be this character, so this is going to happen in the story. And um, I like how it's personally not though Christopher Nolan going out and doing that. It's just once again the internet being the internet. But I like how he likes to keep things secretive. He'll tell you what he's making. He'll give you open for interpretation approaches if you're the actor or actress in his movie. But at the same time, he likes to kind of have that secretive approach to his movies. I know J.J. Abrams does this too, and I think that's actually a pretty neat trait to have, because when you're watching the movie, you're like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming, or that's I like how he kind of kept that under wraps. So right now, I can really enjoy what he's done here for us. So I also like how Christopher Nolan makes you think about his endings. Inception alone is just like that requires a true work of imagination to really understand that ending of the movie. The Dark Knight Rises. With the Dark Knight Rises, it's more so that Batman was a symbol, and it's always going to continue on to generation. It's that the Batman figure in Gotham is never really going to end. Someone's going to take up the cape someday and continue the work of Batman. Um, and I also like his film openings. His film openings really get you interested in the movie. With The Dark Knight, had the clown bank robbery. With Inception, we had the a dream scene from later on, and it's later explored later in the movie. But I really liked how he really got us interested in the movie. Insomnia had a great opening, and he's really good about opening and closing his movie, and making sure there's good material in between that beginning and ending in his movie. So I think once again that's a very admirable trait to have as a director. So yeah, guys, I really wanted to just take this video to really just praise Christopher Nolan. I really can't wait to see Interstellar. We do have to wait all the way till November, unfortunately, to see it, but I'm glad that he had at least a teaser trailer out in the world right now for us to look at until then. And I just love Christopher Nolan, and I can't wait to see what he does next. And feel free to comment down below if you want to share something about Christopher Nolan and how much he means to you, because I gotta say, the man means a lot to me, and I really can't wait to see what he does next as a filmmaker.